There once lived a man who never missed church. Every Sunday, he sat in the front row, Bible in hand, eyes closed, voice loud in every prayer. But one strange morning, something happened in that church that changed him forever. And from that day, he said, "I will never go to church again." My friend, listen carefully, because before this story ends, you may begin to see church, faith, and humanity differently. Keto was a simple farmer in the small village of Ibom. He loved God with all his heart, or at least that's what everyone believed. Every Sunday, he was the first to arrive, sweeping the church compound, arranging chairs, singing louder than the rest. People respected him. Some even said, if there's anyone who will surely enter heaven, it is Keto. But behind that smile, behind those loud prayers, Keto carried something no one could see: pride. He believed he was better than everyone else. He would look at those who came late and whisper to himself, "These ones don't love God like I do." One rainy Sunday, as the service began, a stranger walked into the church. He was dressed in torn clothes, barefoot, and smelled of dust and hunger. The ushers hesitated, they didn't know where to put him. Keto looked at the man and frowned. How can such a person sit here? He will spoil the air with his smell, Keto murmured. The stranger smiled gently, but said nothing. He found a seat at the back and bowed his head quietly. When offering time came, Keto proudly brought out his new notes, clean, crisp, shining, and dropped them loudly in the basket. But the stranger brought out a small piece of bread, wrapped in a leaf, and placed it gently on the altar. The congregation laughed. Even the pastor looked confused. But the stranger's face was calm, peaceful, like someone who had seen heaven. As the service went on, the sky outside grew darker, though it was still morning. Then, suddenly, a loud voice echoed, not from the microphone, but from above. Everyone froze. The voice said, "Today, I have come to test the hearts of men." The lights flickered. The door slammed shut. The air became thick with silence. The stranger at the back stood up. But now, his appearance had changed, his torn clothes shone like the sun, his eyes bright as lightning. Everyone gasped. He said, "You sing, you dance, you shout, but your hearts are far from love. You come to church for people to see you, not for God to dwell in you. Keto, you judge others by their smell, yet your heart smells worse before heaven." Keto trembled and fell to his knees. "Forgive me, Lord," he cried. The stranger smiled softly and said, "The true church is not the building made with hands, it is the heart that loves, forgives, and shows mercy." Then, like mist, the stranger vanished. When everyone came to their senses, they realized the doors were open again, the light was normal, and the sky was bright. But something had changed, no one could speak for a long time. The pastor wept on the altar. The choir knelt in silence. Keto quietly left the building. He didn't go home angry, he went home broken. For the first time, he realized he had been worshipping the church, not the God of the church. The next Sunday, he didn't go to church. Instead, he walked to the marketplace, found a hungry widow, and gave her food. He visited an orphan and paid his school fees. He cleaned the compound of an old blind man who lived alone. And when people asked him, "Keto, why didn't you come to church?" he smiled and said, "Because today, I found God outside the building." Weeks passed, and the people began to notice something different about Keto. He no longer argued in public or tried to show off his faith. He greeted everyone with kindness, shared what little he had, and forgave quickly. The pastor himself came to visit and said, "Keto, people say you no longer come to church. Have you backslidden?" Keto smiled again and replied, "No, Pastor. I didn't stop serving God, I just started serving Him where He truly lives." The pastor sat quietly for a long time. Then he said, "My son, maybe you are right. Maybe we have built walls around the very God who wants to walk among men. My friend, Cato never stopped believing in God. He just discovered that church is not only where people gather, it is where kindness is practiced, where mercy is given, and where love is real. If you only sing loud but hate your neighbor, you are building a church with no roof. If you pray for blessings but ignore the poor, your altar has no fire. And if you judge others because they don't look like you are closing heaven's gate on yourself. Before you say, "I will never go to church again," remember. The problem is not always the building, but the hearts inside it. God can be found in a smile, in forgiveness, in a helping hand. The true church is love, and love never closes its doors. So don't stop going to church, just carry the spirit of the church wherever you go. If this story touched your heart, don't just scroll away. Share it with someone who needs to remember what true worship means. And before you leave, type "Love is the true church" in the comments. Let's see how many hearts still carry light in this world. Subscribe for more African stories that open your eyes, feed your soul, and remind you that wisdom still lives among us.